Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Success Summit recap. And today is all about environment. It's something, I've heard about it, but from this level, this is a whole different world. So I wanted to open again by recapping a few notes, and then I'm going to share speaker Peter Sage. I was just explaining to these guys, this British leader I'd never heard of before. I ordered his book immediately after I heard him speak. You'll know why soon. But let's go over some pointers from the top. First, I want to share with you. So recruiting, we've got to think of it like people aren't going to see it like we do, right? You know, we wake up and we think, oh my God, why the hell isn't the whole world in this business? I don't understand. Like, why is everyone so, like, this is so, why can't I get it through to people? Why do they not understand? So that's us. Most people don't feel that way. So we've got to kind of understand it from like their perspective. And Fraser used the analogy of like pineapple on pizza. Like, it's a very divided topic. Like, some people are all in, some people are all out. There's not really a middle ground. So people are prepared to take part in their own, no, people aren't prepared to take part in their own rescue. They're not. They wait for the government, they wait for the COVID check, they wait for inheritance. They're literally just passively waiting for some miracle to happen. This is most of the world. So what we do, we are the helicopter rescue. We're helping people who are ready to be rescued. All of us were 100% ready to be rescued, right? But there's still a lot of people like, I think I'm manifesting that my life's gonna just, I'm gonna make all this money. Now, a lot of us did that in a way. We were like, I know something's coming, I'm ready to jump on that, but we took action. But a lot of people are just like, I'm just gonna wait for the world to end. We are the helicopter rescue for the people who are ready to take responsibility. Those people are there and they're figuring it out by the second. They're like kind of being driven to action and they're starting to seek. So that's what we are. He speaks, creating content, TikTok, YouTube, IG Reels, and Facebook Reels, because it builds trust. That's what that does. It builds trust with people if we're consistent on platforms. And it sounds overwhelming. I was like, ew, I didn't want to do Facebook or TikTok for like ever. But what I did, which is what they suggested, is when I make a Instagram reel, I save it before I post it to my phone, and then I post it on every platform, and I copy paste the caption. Boom, 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 boom. It takes 5 minutes at most. And then you're building engagement on more platforms, because we don't know when, I mean, my Instagram account was deleted. We don't know what's going to happen. So keep them open. And he says, trust is the most important thing. Truth and time equals trust. You being vulnerable, you being you being absolutely true to who you say you are over extended time will build trust. So don't give up. Like, it's like, oh, why have I not got 100,000 followers yet? You just haven't given it enough time. That's all. You're not doing anything wrong. It's time and developing your message and who you are and what your voice is. So don't worry. What we sell, we don't sell superfoods. What we sell is hope. What we sell is freedom. What we sell is financial freedom. What we sell is the solution. So when people say to me, what do you sell? I'm like, I sell freedom. That feels good, huh? We don't sell superfoods. We sell a solution, a community, a movement, change. That's what we can say. It's a whole different thing, right? They need certainty. This is so important. This blew my mind. Okay, get ready for this. So when we say to people, don't worry, there's a 60-day money back guarantee, we're not giving them certainty. They're saying, don't even say that. They're like, you shouldn't even get to the point where you're like, oh, but there's a 60-day money back guarantee. I've always done this, by the way. And what they're saying is, you've got to be like, this is going to work for you. This changed my life. This changed the life of this person you've met, this person whose story you've heard. I've told you about this guy and this guy. This is going to be amazing for you. And they're going to go, oh my goodness, yes, sign me up. That's the kind of certainty that we want to create in people. Not to the point where we have to kind of go back like and start explaining ourselves. Oh, 60-day money back guarantee. Oh, like maybe you can come to a call and see what you think. No, it's right there and then. We build certainty by building relationships. We take time building relationships. From that very first time that we speak to them, we want to build trust. We want them to trust us. We're friends with them. I ordered, as soon as Alison and Sarah got me on the phone, I was like, these women are incredible. whatever you want me to buy, I will borrow my mom's credit card and promise to pay my mom back, but I will buy whatever you tell me to buy. And I did. I think I spent like probably $800 that first order. I had absolute trust in the vision that they painted me. There was no, I didn't care about a money back guarantee. I think they mentioned it because Alison's story obviously is Jared wanted to return it. But I was like, that's not even happening. The certainty that was built in my head. And when I remember that, I'm like, that's what I want every customer that speaks to me to feel. That's certain, because I'm still here. I'm still here probably because of that trust that was built at the beginning, honestly. The customers I get who are like 60-day money back guarantee, oh, and complaining, it's difficult. You know, I don't want to be forever. So let's spend more time building rapport. We don't even need to mention the 60-day. Yes, exactly. You ordered whatever Taz told you to because she's a woman who has a rapport. She has posture. Like I buy whatever Taz, I often do when I have something wrong with me, whatever Taz tells me to get, I get it. Same with Sarah Brando. I'll get whatever they tell me to get. You know, when people say, oh, I'll give it a try, or I need to think about it. You haven't spent enough time building rapport. That's all that is. That's kind of good because that's the only problem there. And even I get that still. Oh, you know, I'll think about it. Can you send me some more information? It's so frustrating. You're like, do you not get it? Do you not get how amazing this is? No, and it's my fault because I haven't instilled that belief into you yet. I haven't made you realize that this changed my life, that it helped my dad, that it's changed thousands of people. You know, we haven't built the picture. We haven't exposed them to enough stories. They haven't met a lot, like whatever it is. It's always our responsibility. So if you get the people that are going, okay, more rapport. We have to spend more time building that foundation. And this is for everyone. I'm sure even Alison and Jared get thinkers. It's like, it's normal, but this is a good opportunity for us. It's like, oh, that's the only problem. I can build more rapport with people. That's great. But people need certainty. They're looking to us. They're not looking to us to go 60-day money back guarantee. And they're like, oh, so it might not work. They want us to be like, this is going to change your life. And they go, I'm giving you my credit card. That's where we're getting to. This is the level of excellence we're moving into, okay? Absolute trust. You think Kimberly Sanders makes 27, or was it like 43K a month with 60-day money back guarantee? She's like, they're like, here's my credit card. Take whatever you need. I will buy whatever you tell me to get. This is Kim Sanders level stuff, guys. So if you can understand like the mindset of this, take my card, get whatever it is. I will do whatever it takes. That's what we've got, right? So this is going to change your life, Margaret. Trust me. Just trust me. Give me this and give this a go because you have no idea what this is going to do for you. I want you to feel good. You know, let's get to this point. If you're, and I said this yesterday. Yeah, it's the I know. You've got to know when you're on these calls. I know I bring value. I know I'm the best. I know I will sell today. It's this like, that's the posture. I know. It's not like maybe, it's like, I know. The people, the leaders that do you think like Jess Lee ever goes on a call like, maybe I'll sell today? She's like, I know I'm going to sell like 50,000 of sales today myself. So we borrow this posture. They're hooked on how you know. The people are hooked on how you know. If you know, they're all in. They want to know that you know. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to listen and order from someone who is like, I remember, before I got into Purium, someone in Monat like completely like got me on a call. I didn't know what was happening. Before I knew I'd ordered something because she like was like, this is the thing, blah, blah, blah. And I really trusted her. And at the end, I freaked out because she hadn't built rapport. I didn't even know what I was buying. She was so certain that I like spent this money at the end. But this is the difference though. We don't lead with like, I just want you to buy stuff, which is why in the end I returned it. I was like, this feels shady as hell. This is different. But she knew. Alison and Sarah knew that my life was going to change. And then I knew. I needed them to know. I didn't need them to say 60-day money back guarantee. I didn't need them to say maybe. I needed at that point in my life 100%. So let's practice this in our calls. This is really cool. This is really, really cool. They'll buy to your level of belief. in the product and in you. If you don't have the level of belief in the product and in yourself, it doesn't matter about anything else. If there are products you're like, I don't want to take that personally, I don't like that, fix it. You've got to have 100% belief in the vision, everything, and in yourself. Most importantly, you've got to, because they're only going to buy to that level. That's why Kimberly Sanders makes this much sales. This is why she makes like 50K sales. I don't know, something ridiculous. Can you imagine her ever doubting herself on a call? No, she doesn't. Yeah, we need to grow. He kept repeating, we don't get paid what we want, we get paid who we are. I said it in the last one. They went over that and over that and over that. In personal development, this is a positive note. This is really good. Personal development, we can never grow backwards. Once we've done it, we're there. You can't go back. So it's like the most rewarding work, because in a business, you can go really quickly, you can grow, but then you fall really fast. Like that can go. But with your personal development, that's for life. That's your gift. So that's really, really cool. He talks to, yeah, businesses are like a yo-yo. They up and down all the time. So we've got to zoom out and take a look at what's really happening, because it can be frustrating if it's yo-yoing and up and down, but really there's always growth within the yo-yo in this business. So we can take a look at that, you know, together at some point. Never, never, never give up. Recruiting is a mindset. It's a transference of conviction and energy. That's all of it. So isn't that funny? Recruiting is a mindset. It's not even like a skill. I mean, it is, but it's more a mindset. You need to be convinced this is the one. Tomorrow in the training, the guy I'm sharing gives the best explanation for the business that I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to use it every single call. Someone goes, tell me about the business. I can do it in 2 minutes using his analogy. It's genius. It's game changing. And with that, they'll be like, oh, I understand. It's super simple, because sometimes we're stumped. Someone's like, tell me about the business. You're like, competition, like, what do I even, there's a really easy way. So don't worry, I'm going to tell you about that tomorrow. Whether they say yes or no, it doesn't matter, because you're giving them a gift. What you've got to understand, this is a gift that you're giving to people. If they say no, that's okay. They've rejected your gift, but that's okay. They're not ready. They say yes. Oh my goodness, you took my gift. This is the best day ever. Let's all celebrate together. But we need belief. So this is all mindset stuff at the beginning here. I went over that yesterday a little bit. So obviously discipline, we have to create messy, authentic action, being relatable. Attraction marketing is real, and we have to work to create content, confidence, consistency. You being a human now, just as you are is the value. It's not about you being whatever it is that you want to be. The value is you right while you are now, being a human, having a messy experience, no matter what's going on. A lot of us are in transit, moving places, changing mindsets, everything's changing, leveling up. That's okay. That's the value in who we are. That's really cool, because like we're always valuable in every stage of this. Yeah, we asked for recommendations. I already said this. Confidence is part of certainty. If you're consistent, they will get awareness of the brand from you. This is big. If you aren't consistent, if you talk about this sometimes, they'll get awareness of the brand from you, but they'll buy from someone more consistent. This has probably happened to Alison, where people on our team or other teams have like talked about Purium, and then someone will go, Alison's really consistent. Hey, I heard about Purium. I'd love to order from you. And you're like, well, I don't know who you heard about it from. They're like, I don't remember. I just heard about it. They're going to order from someone they trust and who's consistent. Don't lose sales that way. I'm sure we've all lost one because of inconsistency. So don't let it happen. I mean, it's good. It's good for the leaders, but it's great for them, but we're trying to build. So consistency is what will keep them going. Oh God, Eric's coming in. That's always nerve-wracking. So that's something to keep in mind. I thought that was really interesting. And I have something to discuss with Alison, an idea of a mentorship program that was talked about. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think it could be a really good idea. So people don't lack motivation, they lack vision. That's all it is. It really isn't. They don't lack motivation. They don't know what they're being motivated for to get, because they don't believe they can get there, because they don't have an end of the road. You know, sometimes you do a check and you're like, I'm just living day to day trying to survive. Oh my goodness, we've all been there. Some days I'm like, wait, I need to remember the vision. But we're not lacking in motivation, we're lacking in vision. Good leaders have vision. Great leaders give vision. So good leaders have a vision of their own, so they're rocketing. But if you're an amazing leader, which everyone in this pool is, we're going to share that vision, which we do. That's really good. We give vision to others where other people can't see it. When Alison said to me, you know what, Alice, we're going to be millionaires. We're going to own fruit forests. We're going to build retreat centers and change the world. It's the first time I was like sparked in my entire life. And I've still got the vision. So give people the vision, help them to see their vision, and you were a great leader. That's what we get to do. It's so cool. How to gain more vision. Some tips for gaining more vision. Okay, gratitude. Sing mantras like me, like a crazy person. Perspective. Talk to yourself more and listen to yourself less. Stop listening to this and talk to yourself in kind ways throughout the day. Am I going to go into this a little bit? When you had success in your business, think to the time you had the most success in your business. I want everyone to think about it. I remember mine. In your Purium business, one was like your biggest jump, right? You had more energy, not more skills. At that point, you had so much energy that everyone thought you were insane, because you were absolutely nonstop. It's not about the skills, it's about the fire that you lit. There are 2 growth spurts. I've had both of them. It was insane. There was nothing else I was doing. I was on fire. And Eric was nodding because he's had that. Alison's had that. I know everyone here has had a spurt. So yeah, the energy, right? And that, you know, it can go up and down. But how do we get the energy back to get to that point again? Skills, yes, they're important, but it's the energy, that fire that you cultivated that got you to that new place, right? It was the energy, not the skills. So we need to remember what gave us that energy, how we create energy in ourselves, what can give us that boost again. Because it does, it's like it's like a little rocket ship, and you have these like amazing, impactful areas. And then on that, does your action match your why? Do the actions that you're taking right now match your why? It's so interesting to have all this perspective and go, whew, like I felt called out on a lot of these calls. I was like, oh, I've really got to write down. I've written so much, like, do my actions match my why? Are they big enough? Are they really going to get there? Are they the right things? Get really honest about that. And before I speak anymore, I want to share the video with Peter Sage about environment, because you're not even ready for this. It's such gold. So let me quickly share my screen. Where are we? My British friend who I'd never... Eric, have you heard of Peter Sage? Probably. No. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, this guy is insane. Okay, so get some notebook and pen out, because he's about to blow your mind. Yay.
On that note, are you ready? Do you have some energy? Are you hydrated? Are you with me? Guys, give me some love. This is not one of those times where you want to be listening passively while walking the dog, while stirring the soup with your foot, while putting your phone next to your ear and any of that stuff. I promise you, if you give me the courtesy of your full attention for the next hour or so, I'm going to take you on a journey of insight that is going to help you in your business and your life. That's my promise. I'm going to bring my A game, but I need you guys to bring your A game, right? Because then we're going to be double A, and yeah, that powers a lot of stuff. So on that note, let me give you, for those that have seen me before, and for the benefit of those that haven't, a very speedy recap of some of the stuff that I've covered in previous Success Summits. Because for those that aren't aware, I'm not a networker in the concept of the industry that you're in. My background is traditional entrepreneurship. You know, I've built businesses from scratch many different times, and some have even worked, would you believe? Some have wiped me out, some have cost me gazillions of dollars, some have made me gazillions of dollars, all of that kind of stuff. But I've learned a lot over that period. Even for majority of it, I was kind of in the slow learners club. But I want to really give you a distinction. And that is that when I started learning business, at the same time, I was learning personal growth. And I saw a massive correlation between the investment that I would put into myself and the profitability of the business. Most people invest a lot in their business, nothing in themselves, and wonder why their business isn't profitable. Everybody relates to that. So I got into personal growth. Now, in full transparency, as a young man, I started my first business at 17, which means I've been unemployable for 33 years. Then I was getting into business to try to prove to the world I was good enough. I was desperate to try to show that my business studies teacher that said I'd never amount to anything, my parents that were disappointed I dropped out of school, and my friends that were laughing at me because they were off to university. I was desperate to try to prove to the world that I was good enough, to essentially get over the fear that all of us have at some degree that we're not. See, the primary human fear is the fear we're not enough, not good enough, smart enough, rich enough, certain enough, all of that kind of stuff. And when we start living through that lens, we compromise our potential, even if in the short term, it can seem motivating to push forward. So for me, when I started getting into personal growth, I was using all the techniques and strategies to get more, to try to feel more or be more. And it got me to a certain point. I was a millionaire in my early 20s and all of that jazz. But I found out that there is a huge difference between a life-chasing success and a life-chasing fulfillment. Give me some acknowledgement if some of you understand where I'm coming back right now. And so when it comes to what I want to share today, I want to give you some strategies that are going to help you be successful, but I want you to look at it through the lens of why am I looking to be successful? Because if you're trying to prove to the world you're good enough, it's because your self-worth is tied to your net worth. And I've got news for you. If you are trying to validate your self-worth with zeros, your net worth and your self-worth will most likely be zero, because you can't win that game. It's a hamster wheel to nowhere. I've worked with people worth $700 million that were miserable, depressed, because they weren't a billionaire yet. The game never ends. I think we all know that to some degree. So today, I want to give you a little bit of a tour on, again, a bit of a reminder. One is that we're talking about the game here of emotional maturity. Now, emotional maturity is not the same as biological maturity. Biological maturity, we don't get to vote on whether that game gets played or not. We can run strategies that'll kind of speed it up a little, slow it down a little. We can put on creams and go get, injections and all that kind of stuff. Right? Or take vitamins or stay out of the sun, whatever your belief system. And you may impact that to a certain small percentage, but you're not going to win the game. Does this make sense? It's non-negotiable. You are going to have a final scene in your movie at some point, and you're most likely going to look different 20 years from now than you look now or 20 years ago. So let's just acknowledge biological maturity is something we don't get to choose. Emotional maturity is a choice. And in your line of work, you are going to meet people that you are going to make a fundamental mistake with. You are going to think that just because they're biologically mature, that means they're emotionally mature. And a lot of the time when we realize that isn't the case, because it's an optional game, emotional maturity, we tend to project our model of the world onto those people. And we tell them why that they need this opportunity, why they should be sharing the message, or why they should be working harder, recruiting more people, et cetera, because we get it, because we're at a certain part of the mountain on the journey of emotional maturity where we have a different view to those that are not at that point. Now, before we go further, that isn't to be confused with one being better than the other. Let's get the spiritual ego off the table for a second. All right, what's better, a tall tree or a small tree? What's better? A 9-year-old or a 13-year-old, right? No, neither's better. They're just at different levels of their own journey of emotional maturity or biological maturity. So when it comes to a 9-year-old, we don't look at them and say, that is a faulty teenager. No, we just know it's a perfectly good 9-year-old. If somebody doesn't like your opportunity because where they're at in their life, they can't see the wood for the trees and they're in victim mode and they have no interest in getting out because they hold up their problems like a trophy, you're not responsible for taking their trophy away, because if you do, they'll find another one. You solve their problem, they'll find another one to give you. Anyone ever met somebody like that? Anyone ever tried to recruit somebody like that? Anyone ever managed to recruit them in a moment of temporary inspiration that they happened to have had because they were in a happy cloud, and when they came out of the cloud, they were the hardest working person you had to work with in your group? Right? So yeah, let's set ourselves up to win here, guys. Recognize emotional and biological maturity are different. But there's 2 ways where you can tell, this is more for yourself, if you're on the right path of emotional maturity. The first is the day you wake up to realize that life is a growth-centric experience, not a comfort-centric experience. If you're running around believing mass hype commercialism that tells you that you need to buy everything so that you're good enough and can have an easy life, you're living in Disneyland. All right? You're not good enough unless you smell this way, look that way, use this product, all this kind of crap. Right? No, and if you're trying to use that to promote whatever it is that your company's promoting, you're tapping into the wrong source of inspiration. Right? You being the example and the invitation is way more powerful. That aside, when you wake up to realize life is growth-centric, you see your challenges differently. You take them on. You're an athlete in the gym. You're not complaining at the weights. You're embracing the weights. That's the game. Now, the second big part of the journey of emotional maturity, and some of you ain't going to like this, but if you are going to get into this business and be successful, I can promise you, you've heard some from stellar industry leaders throughout this conference. You're going to listen to some more. And every single one of them looks good on stage. They have the network. They have the residual income. They have the success stories. But if they took off their shirts and turned around, you would see so many scars on their back. You would see so many knife marks from people they thought they trusted or people that let them down. You would see so much exhaustion from the mountains they climbed and slid back down, right? They understand that life's a growth-centric experience here, not just all about rainbows and unicorns. But they also understand the second rule, and that is this. That the day you finally grow up is the day you start being comfortable not being liked. Oh, how many people felt that? See, the mantra of most people in this industry is, oh, I'll do what it takes, whatever it takes, I'll get up, until. And then your list begins until the second person says no, until my best friend says I'm in a scam, until, somebody points, sends me a picture of a pyramid, until, all of this BS where people are projecting their own stuff that we allow our own self-worth and net worth to be eradicated over not because it's true, not because it's even remotely close to reality, but because we let somebody else's insecurity and projection trigger our fear of not being liked. Ooh. Some of you are so obsessed with that, you're taking pictures of your breakfast and counting the hearts. Don't tell me I'm wrong, right? So, what do we do about that? Well, I want to give you an insight here, because Fraser is the master, in my opinion, in this industry of teaching techniques that will allow you to blast through and get from A to B as efficiently, effectively as possible in this industry. He's peerless in that regard. Right? So you guys have got the best mentor at the head of this game already. But we already know that if we've got X thousand people on this summit, you're all being exposed to the same information. So why is only a certain percentage applying that? Or why out of the people that do apply it are only a certain percentage following through and getting results? It can't be the information that is a constant. What's the variable, guys? It's the same issue throughout the entire industry. People, complain, oh, you've heard it all before. Your downline will come to you and say, oh, it doesn't work, right? They blame the compensation plan. They blame the management. They blame the freaking, the weather, whatever it is. Bullshit. It stops with the person in the mirror. And I know you've heard this, but I want to try and reiterate it in a way where it starts to sink in, because what I'm going to share with you right now is a strategy for addressing that, not on how to get the best reach on different ways using social, for example. I'm talking on a different game here, guys. So I want to give you an opportunity to be honest with me here. Be vulnerable. When we talk about belief systems, we talk about, you are experiencing your reality through your beliefs. And so what I want to do is I want you to do a little exercise with me here now. And part of this will be okay with you, being okay, getting out of your own way, trying to be perfect. Any perfectionists in the house? Come on, give me a perfectionist. Put your hand up. I know you're there somewhere. All right. Let me give you a little insight here that might save you some stress downwind. Perfection is the lowest standard. Why? Because it's unattainable. Being human is unperfectible. Why? Because we're in Earth School, growth-centric. If you're getting every answer right in class, it's not because you're smart, it's because you're in the wrong class. Now, we learn more from the answers we get wrong, but the reason we avoid that is simply because we don't want to be judged for not being good enough. Back to the primary fear. So if you're trying to be perfect right now, I've got news for you. Give up the game and start living, rather than hiding out and being controlled by an unconscious need to be good enough that gets triggered every time you think that you've not done something right. You don't get better at tennis by playing people you can beat. But if you're a perfectionist, anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. So, limiting beliefs. I want to play a game with you. Do me a favor. I would like you to right now take 10 seconds, all the time you need for 10 seconds, to put in the chat. And this is where you can stop stirring the spoon with your ears or whatever it is that you're doing with the soup. All right. I want you to write in the chat, what is your most limiting belief about yourself? Think about it. Not for long. Go with your gut. And by the way, nobody cares about your limiting belief. They're too busy, being worried about what they think you're thinking of their limiting belief. So write down, what's your limiting belief? Can't sell, not good enough, don't believe in myself, I'm old, not good enough, imposter syndrome, I'm not a leader, not good enough. All common stuff, guys. Part of the human condition. And I appreciate those that have put it in. And for those that are still doing it, type it in, guys. Right? Shame, don't deserve it, I'm a good speaker, I'm good enough. A lot of common stuff. Okay, thank you for sharing that, guys. Now, here's the next limiting belief I want you to write. What is your most limiting belief right now about money? Switch gears. Go from yourself, go to money. What's the limiting belief you have about money? Not enough. Embarrassment's hard to make. I'll never have enough. It's hard to get. I'm useless with it. Don't deserve it. Scared. Don't have enough. Never have as much as I'd like. Won't be able to get it. Guys, you're following me here. Okay? And again, common stuff. This is not unique to you guys. This is a human condition for most people. All right? I'm going to help you today. Walk past this. And finally, what is the limiting belief that you have about your business? What's the limiting belief you have about your business, or your role in it, your industry, whatever it may be? Can't make it happen, don't know enough, I can't recruit fast enough, won't go further, won't figure it out, won't be able to help people in the best way possible, I'm too slow to grow, hit a glass ceiling. All of that kind of stuff. Guys, I want to say thank you, by the way, for your vulnerability and honesty here. And I'd expect nothing less from Fraser's Tribe. But the point I'm getting to here is not to tee you up for a Prozac prescription. The point I'm getting to here is I want to ask you a question. Two questions, actually. Let me start with the first one. Look at those three beliefs, just the beliefs. Forget the techniques that you're trying to learn to solve the beliefs. We'll get to that afterwards. Just look at those three limiting beliefs, the one you have about yourself, the one you have about money, and the one you have about your business. My next question is this, because you've probably never asked it. Why do you believe that? I mean, really, don't jump into a left brain, need to give an answer kind of answer, because that's usually a distraction. Why do you really believe that? I mean, if I was to ask, is that really true for you? I'd be able to give, and your best friends would be able to give enough references to show you that it wasn't. See, it doesn't matter what references you get. It matters how you show up based upon those beliefs. But before you do a self-autopsy on that, let me ask my second question. This is where we're going. What would happen to your business and life and bank account if all you did was to eliminate those three beliefs? Forget learning new strategies on social, techniques on how to speak to people, faster ways of the marketing plan, blah, blah, all of that stuff, useful in its own right. But forget that. All of the incredible notes you've taken so far in the summit, you'll be taking loads more from other incredible speakers giving you their strategies. But before you start applying that, think first, what would happen if I was to take away just those 3 beliefs? How would life be different for you 12 months from now? Just that. Didn't learn any new techniques, no strategies, no new shiny objects. Look at the chat, guys. It'll explode. Growth momentum, freedom, skyrocket, no barriers. We're not talking about the secrets to cracking the algorithm on freaking Instagram here, guys. We're talking about you removing 3 limiting beliefs, period. Is this making sense? So why the hell are you running off trying to get strategies to be able to do that? Let me give you an example. So if you were walking along the river one day, you're out for a Sunday stroll. Does this ever happen to you? Yeah. Let's say it's sunny, so probably not England. And you're walking down the river. It's a beautiful day. And you hear a scream. And you look up and there's somebody in the middle of the river, clearly struggling. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, you're not afraid of water and you're a good swimmer. Yeah. Under those circumstances, what would you do? Most likely, you dive in the river and try to help them. Would you agree? Okay, as long as there was no like rapids or whirlpools or sharks or alligators, any of that kind of stuff, all circumstances being equal for your safety, you would go in and try to help somebody who clearly couldn't know how to swim. And so you swim out, you try to say, it's okay, but I'm coming, and you get your arm around them and you think back to all the episodes of Baywatch you saw and try to figure out how to get them back. And you're swimming back with one arm, you got them under the other, and you finally get to the shore, you get them out, they're coughing, spluttering, you pump their chest, you turn them over, put them in a recovery position, and they start breathing, and so do you. And so you're all happy. So, oh, wow. And just at the point where you're about to walk off, you now hear 2 screams. And you look over. Now there's 2 people in the river. Oh, my God. So you go back, you dive in, and now you got one under each arm, and you struggle to get to the end. You finally get them out. You pump the chest, you sort them out, and you take a breath and hear 4 screams. And here you go again. And now you're trying your best to try to get 2 under each arm. You're struggling. You're getting exhausted. You're trying to move. And you finally come to the bank, and you go through all of that hard work and effort, and now you hear 8 screams. So what I'm describing here, guys, is the problem that most people have, not just in this industry, but very common to this industry. And that is, most people are spending way too much time trying to rescue people out of the river rather than to look upstream and see who's throwing them in. Now, what I'm talking about here is those beliefs that you just put, those limiting beliefs that are stopping you, as you just admitted, from getting everything that you want. A lot of you are trying to solve an upstream problem with a downstream solution. Let me say that again. You cannot solve an upstream problem with a downstream solution. Let's take money as an example. Let's say that you don't have enough money. That's your person drowning in the river. So you think obvious way to dive in and save that problem is by working harder. Anyone tried that? Yeah. Starting a new business, trying to recruit more people, trying to, elbow your way through the crowd and, up the compensation plan, trying to look at other ways to try to beat the system, trying to get a second income, a third income, trying to gain that, trying to do something to make more money. Anyone resonating here? Downstream solution to an upstream problem. Why? Your upstream problem, you told me earlier, it's your limiting belief about money. You see, most people aren't in debt because they don't have enough money, guys. And some of you need to hear this. You're in debt because you haven't mastered your relationship to money. So if you instead start looking, okay, well, what do I, if my level of comfort is, let's say you're a 50 grand a year person. Yeah, for some of you, that'll be aspirational. For some of you, that'll be scarily low. But let's just draw a line somewhere. Let's say you're a 50 grand a year person, grand a week. And you go to an event, you come to the Success Summit, you get an upline who's earning gazillion dollars, and you always and all of a sudden now you see that 200 grand is possible. And you get excited. Oh my God, this is it. I'm in. and you start setting 200 grand a year goals. Well, the challenge with that is that you're still at a 50 grand a year belief system, which means even if you're given the fast track, the secret sauce, you're going to start getting close to that and then start saying, whoa, I don't belong up here. This is the VIP room. But you've got a pass. Oh, yeah, but I shouldn't have the pass. I don't belong. I'm not comfortable here. I've never been here. I don't get used to this. I'm going back down to 50 grand because that's where at least I know that I have certainty there. Is this making sense, guys? See, your financial thermostat operates in the background, whether you want it to or whether you don't. And a lot of the time when I ask you the first question, why do you believe that? You're going to come up with some stupid reason that most likely isn't true. Let me share with you one that maybe you just haven't thought of. See, when we're under 7 years old, we operate out of a different level of brain frequency. We operate predominantly at theta. Theta is where you're anywhere between 4 and 7 hertz or cycles per second when it comes to your brain operating. That's really where imagination comes in. That's why you can give a kid a cardboard box at 6 years old and they will turn it into a magical kingdom, right? You can adult a cardboard box and they're staring at the box, right? Now, when we dream in theta. And what that means is we don't have access to critical thinking. Yes, if you're under 7 years old, you don't have access to critical thinking. Why? Because you don't have enough experience evolutionarily to make your own decisions yet. Which is why when we're born with mirror neurons, which means that we look at what should be our primary teachers, usually parents, and we copy them. See, lion cubs don't go to hunting school, sit there with a book and get theory lessons. They accompany their mother on a hunt at the right time and they figure it out using mirror neurons, what they should or shouldn't do. And they learn by trial and error. And when they're hungry enough and the gazelle's got away enough times, they figure out what the mistakes are and do it. Yeah. You don't see lions being born with perfectionism syndrome because they'll starve to death. Is this making sense? Right? So when you are evolutionarily, let's just call it experientially bereft, right? You don't have enough experience to make critical decisions because the first 7 years, you haven't got a clue what's happening, right? You're relying on mom and dad. You can't cook. You can't go out and get food from a supermarket. You can't drive. So evolution sets it up like the lion cubs. We need to follow our environment and learn from that. So when it comes to that, what we need to look at or remember is that if we are under 7 years old, and let's say we saw our parents arguing over money. Anyone have memories of their parents arguing over money? Number 2 reason for divorce, by the way. Number 2 reason, if you go to marriage.com, it'll give the 3 top reasons why people file for divorce. The first one, infidelity. The second one, arguments over money. The third one is a real kicker, that one, irreconcilable differences. Yes, try and figure that one out. Yes, well, Your Honor, I'd like to call my next witness an irreconcilable difference. But when it comes to money, of course, it's an issue for so many people. Why? Because they watch their parents growing up struggling over money. So if we have an unconscious association from it being locked in at 7 years old to money equaling lack of safety, lack of love, mom and dad arguing, withdraw, the front part of our brain, when we're 25 and given an opportunity, is going to say, hey, this is great. I want to go out and be a gazillionaire. And that part of our brain that's trying to protect us is continually self-sabotaging because you've got an unconscious belief that says money's bad, money, nothing good comes of it. I want to avoid being unloved and feared. Therefore, if money's linked to that, what else am I going to avoid? Oh, money. Is this making sense, guys? So when it comes to understanding your problem, it's not working hard enough. It's getting rid of your limiting beliefs. It's so, again, I want you to tattoo this on your eyelids, guys. You cannot solve an upstream problem, limiting beliefs, with a downstream solution. Oh, start a better opportunity and a better compensation plan and recruit more people. Because you're just going to spin your wheels. And by the way, when you explain this to your downline who's struggling, they're going to look up to you with so much compassion and love because you will finally be able to articulate to them what they knew but couldn't understand. So, and until you do this, I'm here to tell you, you can learn all the techniques, go to all the classes in the world. But bottom line is, you're just simply going to find different ways, opportunities of earning the same amount of money. How do I know what someone's limiting beliefs are around money? Easy. Show me your credit card statement. So when it comes to credit cards, let me explain another thing. This will be useful for you guys. And this is where another expression, we're looking for clues here. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to help. But the way that credit cards are set up psychologically will split people into two groups, those that have solved their limiting beliefs around money and those that haven't. Let me explain down each of those corridors how that shows up. So if you have beliefs around money that are linked to fear or your self-worth and your net worth, or your primary fear of not being good enough, and therefore you've got to keep up with the Joneses or do something so that you finally get all that kind of jazz, you're going to use credit cards in a destructive way. What I mean by that, I mean specifically, there is something called destructive debt in the financial terminology when it comes to credit. And that is, I'm going to borrow money I don't have, but luckily Visa, MasterCard, or Amex do, and I'm going to use that to buy myself something that will never pay me back. In other words, a bottle of wine, a meal, a holiday, a car payment, a Netflix subscription. Hello. And then what happens? We get further and further in debt. People that have solved their financial beliefs use credit cards differently. They use it in a constructive way. You take Richard Branson, who I'm very honored and privileged as reading my book right now. But when it comes to debt, Richard's probably hundreds of millions of dollars in debt, way more than you or I. But he's a billionaire. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Of course it makes sense. He knows how to use it constructively. See, he's using the money that banks and other people have to invest in things that will pay them back and him a lot more. So when you bought your ticket for this event and you put it on a credit card, you were demonstrating constructive debt because you're going to be using something on here in order to generate more than it's costing. Would you agree? See, when Apple were going to make a purchase earlier this year, it was a $90 billion purchase, not your average loaf of bread. And Apple, when it comes to 90 billion, could probably write out a check with what they made in interest while I've been speaking. Exaggerating, but you get my point. In other words, they wouldn't break a sweat. So what did Apple do? I'll tell you what they did. They went and borrowed $90 billion, even though they've got more money than Mars sitting in their balance sheet. Why did they do that? Because they understand. Constructive debt is constructive. Destructive debt is destructive. Now, why are you going to destructive debt? Because you feel you need more to be more. You feel you need that your self-worth and net worth are tied. So therefore, if your self-worth is low, you're going to be suckered into some advertising program that's going to tell you that you need to buy this crap in order to feel good enough, and then everything will be good until the bill comes. Is this making sense? Aren't you glad you came today? What a happy, positive, inspirational talk. But guys, no, I'm seriously, I'm trying to help, and I have a solution for you. So don't go and freaking jump off a cliff yet, right? Unless there's a safety net, and I happen to have one for you. So, when it comes to what the question you want to be asking, see, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. Questions direct focus. If you turn around to somebody and say, "Why do you look so glum?" Guess what? Their brain's going to find the answer. All right. Here's all the things that's wrong with my life. If you turn around to somebody who's looking down and say, "Hey, what's up?" Right? They're going to start looking up. If you're going to say, "Oh, come on, I know it's been a poor week, but what's been the best thing that's happened to you in the last 7 days?" You're going to start to take that steering wheel and turn it into a different direction. And here's a simple game to demonstrate. If I said to you, everybody on I've got a game where you can win $1 million. Who's interested? In fact, you can win it in the next 10 minutes. And here's the game. You need to give me 10 genuine things that suck about your life. And if you can do that in 10 minutes and give me the list, I'll give you $1 million. Who's going to win $1 million? All right, I'll tell you, everybody. However, if I turn around and say, "Hey, here's a great game. All of you people that are unhappy, I am going to offer you $1 million if you can write me a list of everything that's great about your life in the next 10 minutes, how many of you are going to win $1 million? Same number of people. See, it's not what's great or what's wrong. See, what's wrong is always available, ladies and gentlemen. So is what's right. The question you want to be asking is, which game do I want to play? Now, when it comes to limiting beliefs, what's the fastest way to shift them? Well, there are techniques and there is that, but I'm not into, and I want to make impact. I want to get A to B as quick as I can. And I've spent the last too long studying human behavior. What makes people go from being in one session, upset, depressed, not living their potential, to rapidly turning that around? And a lot of it has to do with a very little known law. And that is the law of conformity. Something Fraser was talking about just before I came on. See, the law of conformity basically says environment beats will over time, every time. What do I mean by that? That means that I can teach you how to stay warm. I can teach you how to cook warm soup and buy warm clothes and jog on the spot and put your body temperature high. But if you choose to live in a freezer, the environment's going to beat your techniques over time, every time. Does that make sense? Parallel to that, you can read positive affirmations. You can watch The Secret until you can recite it in your sleep. You can go onto YouTube and binge watch inspirational quotes or whatever it may be that you're doing. But if you choose to hang around with people who are telling you why life can't work instead of how it can, the environment's going to win over time every time. Why? Already told you. Mirror neurons. We are evolutionarily adapted to adjust to our environment, which means we are always going to be gravitating towards our surroundings. We know this. If you go live in a hot climate, you're going to acclimatize. You live in a cold climate, you're going to acclimatize. You live in a positive climate, you're going to acclimatize. You live in a negative climate, you're going to acclimatize. So when it comes to your limiting beliefs, those 3 beliefs that you wrote down earlier, what's the fastest way to get rid of them? I'll tell you. Hang around with people that don't have them. So let me ask you a question. And again, Frame, have you ever had a time where you were struggling with something and for every one person you recruit, one person leaves, and your friends are telling you, go get a real job and all of that BS. What would happen if at that point, Fraser or any one of the speakers was to call you up and say, hey, listen, we were running a bit of a door prize on the Success Summit 4. And Fraser says him and several other of the top network marketing professionals on planet Earth, people with a minimum of 100,000 people in their downline that are earning 6 figures a month or so, we want you to come and spend a month with us hanging out. What do you think would happen to your business? Now, here's the thing that most of you haven't realized yet. When you go hang out with those people, you're not going to be learning some new techniques. Why? They've taught you all the techniques that they're using, for goodness sake. What's going to happen is your beliefs are going to shift more in line with their beliefs. And that is what's going to make the difference. Everybody follow me here? Everybody understand? So you really need to start thinking, okay, who can I surround myself? If you hang around with the top industry professionals, and I'll teach you how to do that in a moment. If you were to be able to do that, what do you think would happen to your business? Be honest, guys. Declare it. Own it. And if you disagree, disagree. I'm okay. I'm not trying to be right here, guys. I'm trying to make sure that you understand the gravity of running down the right path rather than the wrong path. In other words, stop trying to solve an upstream problem with come on, type it in. Let me know you're listening. You're still here. Don't solve an upstream problem with come on, who's going to be first? Downstream, says Diana. Yes, she is. She was first in. Well done. Downstream solution. You can't do it. It's not going to work. It's going to trick you into some level of cruel optimism that'll give you a temporary high and then crash you on your ass. And worse, have you blame yourself. I mean, do you want a great example? Diet industry. Oh my God. Anyone here ever tried to lose weight? Sure. Most people at some point. In fact, do you realize that most people that have tried diets have actually lost 30 pounds? The average is about 30 pounds, being honest, right? The challenge is it's the same 3 pounds that lost 10 times, right? So why is it? Because they're trying to solve an upstream problem, which is their relationship to food, with a downstream solution called a diet plan. And when you have the cruel initial optimism that gets you on a high, this could be the goal this time, this could be the way, this could be the golden ticket I've been looking for, and you get some temporary high and then boom, come crashing back down. Now, the cruel aspect of that is this. What does the diet industry do at that point? They do two things. One, they make you blame yourself because you weren't the little poster boy that they photoshopped on the front of the freaking examples and the testimonials, who, as a result of their diet, didn't lose weight, as a result of their ability to change their relationship to food, which probably coincided with them using the diet, caused the issue. And then what they'll do is they'll sell you a different solution. Everybody been trapped on that hamster wheel before? Same with money, same with relationships. The $13-14 billion people spend in personal growth trying to solve the same problems they were trying to solve last year and still haven't, even though they've spent gazillion dollars trying to do it. And I stop sucking up screen time on that and start addressing the upstream issue. So if the upstream issue here is the quality of the people you hang around with will have a direct impact on the quality of the beliefs that you have. And for some of you, the people you hang around with would make a really good cast in Shameless 2, right? Come on, be honest. Now, I can't tell you how to go and upgrade your boss and stop him being grumpy. I can't tell you how to go and convert your mother-in-law into somebody who's positive. I can't tell you to, all of a sudden, sprinkle pixie dust on your best friend and stop them moping around you. But I can do the next best thing. I can teach you how to put yourself in an environment of people who think like you do, that set the kind of goals that you want to set, that are there to be a midwife to your dream, not a heckler to them. Now, if you just had a peer group of people, just upgraded your peer group to people that came from possibility rather than pessimism, what do you think is going to start to happen? It's like moving from a cold country to a hot country. You're going to start to acclimatize. So I put a company together a few years back. I put millions of dollars out of my own pocket into it and some millions of dollars of friends and families. Unfortunately, it wasn't commercially successful. It was a little bit too far ahead of its time. It's now actually in, the technology is now being developed, which I'm pleased about. We really played a big role in moving that forward for humanity. But it was essentially a $10 billion project on building a orbiting solar farm in space to transmit wirelessly by radio wave energy back to Earth 24/7. Because solar panels on Earth, it gets dark, and therefore you don't want to hook up a hospital life support machine to solar panels. Not good if it's cloudy. So when I first got involved in that business, $10 billion is a pretty big ticket item for a lot of people. I'd never built a $100 million company at that point before. So for me, that was a huge aspect. Hey guys, do you want to see something cute? Go on. My dog's making noises because she's dreaming. Let's see if I can show you down here. Where's she gone? Oh, there she is. Just see her in a basket there. There you are. Right. So, that's what the noise was. It wasn't my indigestion. She's having a little dog. Bless her. What do dogs dream of? I don't know. Electric cats, maybe. But my point being is, when I was working with the investment bankers, the people in project finance, our partners were Bechtel. Bechtel built the Channel Tunnel, the Hoover Dam, the Hong Kong airport. Our aerospace partners were Boeing. I'm sitting in meetings with people that are talking in MBT language. Those that aren't familiar with MBT language, millions, billions, and trillions. And the M was a small word. It was usually 3 figures, 250M for this, 300M for that. B was a common, we need 2B for that. There's 8B project happening here. And occasionally you might even hear the T word. Now, what do you think started happening after a few months of me sitting in these meetings? Hearing 200B, 800M became normal. My financial thermostat started rising, not because I suddenly became super wealthy. I was hanging around with people where that became normal. If you're hanging around with network marketing professionals that earning 5 and 6 figures a month is normal, What do you think that's going to do for you? Because some of you, that's way too high out of your comfort zone in your belief system right now, and it's conflicting with those 3 beliefs you put in earlier. Is this making sense? Okay. So when it comes to upgrading your peer group, I want to share something with you. I chat with Fraser, and I says, you know something, this is something I recognized a long time ago, not just from my own experience with that company, but in general. Yeah, I knew that the 5% law, the law of conformity, has existed as a constant throughout human history, regardless of culture, regardless of economy, regardless of doesn't matter. You see, we've all heard that 5% of people in the world own the world. Well, I'll be more specific. 5% of people retire financially independent. 1% of those retire financially free, uber wealthy. But 5% of people consistent throughout history, no matter what stat you look at, what period, what culture, what anything, 5% of people. Now, what do those 5% of people do that the 95 don't? I'll tell you. The 5% spend 95% of their time hanging out with the other 5%. The 1% spend their time hanging out with the 1%. What do the 95% do, guys? Come on, you know. They spend 95% of their time hanging around with the 95%. 5% of the time, maybe the 5%. Go look in the mirror, see where you're at right now, and you'll probably start to get a sense of which door or which corridor you want to be focusing your time on. You want to be upgrading your peer group. If you can do that, because look at the numbers on this summit. Look at the people in your organization. There's willingness. People know there's a better way. People know we're not here to work 9 to 5 for 40 years to get a watch and for somebody we don't like and all that kind of crap, right? No, we're now moving into a higher conscious level of economy where people are starting to realize there's more to life than Big Mac and large fries. So if you can start to realize that the focus here to solve your key problems is not learning the next technique, that has its place. But if you're putting that on top of unresolved self-beliefs that are limiting you, that's like trying to put elastoplast on a slashed jugular, and your potential is going to bleed out and you with it. Yeah, with your resolve, with your exhaustion. Now, that's not what you signed up for. So let's address that. So I created a program. Oh.
Okay. We don't need to talk about his program because it's over, but I did join it. It's so interesting that it's this idea that we're always thinking, all of us, you know, limiting beliefs, and then, but we've all got to learn skills. But honestly, at the root of it, it is the beliefs that are going to get us where we need to go. And this just really opened my mind to that. I was like, wow, like we can do as much, whatever skill, blah, blah, as we need. But until we can put ourselves into the shoes of someone, until we can surround ourselves by people who are positive and uplifting and really striving for their goals, it made me realize more than ever, like, clearing out the old, bringing in the new, it's so important. And I wanted to just end with 2 notes on that. This biz is constructive debt. I put whatever $100 I put into this business, it's paid me more than I've ever earned in my life every month for 3 years. So for, you know, for the smart people, this business is very constructive debt because it pays you dividends. And I'm sure Eric, you know, can say, you know, this is very constructive. He paid for what, $500 to start this business. So for smart people, this is an amazing business. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about how we present the business, which is something I've struggled with a little bit too, but the way that it's presented tomorrow is amazing. And the idea that we must pre-qualify so we don't bring on people who aren't understanding or ready for this. He spoke about mindset. We don't want to bring on people that are just like in victim, so stuck on their beliefs that they're never going to see the benefit or the value of this business. We can't drag those people along. That made, you know, this has really solidified that. We need people like us who are like, wow, I do see this business as amazing opportunity. I can do that. We don't want people who are in such bad money blocks that they're going to sabotage this and never get their money back and blame us. It's exhausting. It's an exhausting cycle. So we need to get good at identifying those people so we can save our time. And a great way to do that, as he's saying, is upgrade your social circle so you can recognize the energy of the people who are going to be good for this. So get rid of the boyfriend who's holding you back, get rid of the friends who are just not going anywhere and not positive and not seeing the new future. That's why we've created Kind Human Tribe. right? Spend more time here if you've got a really hopeless home situation. I know that this went over, but, and he, you know, you may love him or hate him, but he has some friggin' points in there. Yes, when I heard this, I was like, I needed to hear that so bad. Environment is key. It really is key. And we can't stop trying to make more money if we literally can't, because we have money blocks. So let's do the number one thing that he said, which is hang out with really successful people, because we're all damaged from childhood, our parents not having money, having terrible whatever over money. I'm gonna save this, and you can keep it if you want to listen back to him. Maybe you can listen to more of him because he's brilliant. He trains like absolute top leaders in this. But thank you again for your time. I know listening to someone talk for hours can be a bit like, wow, but good points. And tomorrow there's another speaker. It's shorter. He's younger and he's a bit ballsy and a little bit triggering to me because he's like, but he has some amazing points on sales, and sales is what I really wanted to get better at. So thank you guys. Love you all. See you on the call. It's at 9 Eastern. Yeah, products and passion. You're all amazing. I hope this helped. Now we can all heal our limiting beliefs around all of these things. Have an amazing day. Thank you for coming, guys. Bye.